Class, today we are going to study about the periodic table. In the last video we studied about the atom, right? We studied about the structure of the atom. In this video we are going to move a step further. So what is the periodic table? Well, the periodic table by definition is a table of chemical elements arranged in the order of atomic number, usually in rows, so that the elements with similar atomic structure and hence similar chemical properties appear in vertical columns. This is the Google definition, of course. The terms in this definition are the terms you're going to learn about in this video and in the next video. For now, just remember the definition. Now let's move on to what an element means. An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical means. An element is composed of atoms that have the same atomic number, that is, each atom has the same number of protons in its nucleus as all the other atoms of that element. For example, carbon, oxygen, uranium, nickel, etc. In the carbon atom, okay, in every single carbon atom there are the same number of protons. In every single oxygen atom there are the same number of protons, and in every single uranium atom there are the same number of protons. So the number of protons define the name of the element and the properties of the element. An element is basically a type of an atom. Okay, just remember that way. In an element, all atoms of an element have the same properties, have the same number of protons, and goes on. So now let's move on to a shell of a periodic table. We refer to it as the element shell. So the element shell is one of the shells of the periodic table. And now the example you're seeing, the cell you're seeing currently is of the carbon atom. So do you notice the 6 in the top left hand side corner? That is called the atomic number. That number states the number of protons in the nucleus of one atom. In the nucleus of one carbon atom, there are 6 protons, and that is its atomic number. That is what defines its atomic number. Now, did you notice that 12.011 at the bottom? Well, that is the atomic mass. So the atomic mass is the number of nucleons in the nucleus of the atom. So the nucleons are the number of protons and neutrons combined. So a nucleon is a proton or a neutron, okay? The number of nucleons constitutes the atomic mass. And the number of neutrons can vary per atom, okay, depending on the isotope, which we are going to learn about later. So the number of neutrons can vary. It's not fixed, okay? So the atomic mass can also vary. So 12.011 is the average of all the atoms, okay? So did you notice the C at the bottom? Well, in the middle. The C is the abbreviation of the element name. Just learn that, okay? H stands for hydrogen, O stands for oxygen, etc. You need to learn the names. So let's move on to the actual periodic table now. Let me bring it up to you. Now we just learned about the element cells. Now let's see what the periodic table looks like. So this is what the periodic table looks like. As you can see, it says H, He, Li, etc. The letters are actually the abbreviations for the element name, and the number on top of the letters are the atomic numbers. Do you remember what the atomic numbers are? They are the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. Do you remember that from the previous slide? So that is what the numbers on the top of the abbreviations are. Each single block is the cell of the periodic table, known as the element cell, as I told you. There are many elements in the periodic table, as you can see, and they are still being counted every year. We make new make new elements, and they just add to the periodic table. Now let's learn a few points about the periodic table. In the periodic table, elements are arranged in increasing atomic number. Now let's see that. As you can see, H has an atomic number of 1. He, helium, has the atomic number 2. Lithium, Li, has the atomic number 3. Beryllium has 4. Boron has 5, etc. If you go from left to right, top to bottom, wherever you go, you're going to find the same pattern. Elements are arranged in the increasing atomic number. Just don't mind the bottom two rows that are floating below the periodic table, because we're not going to learn about them now. We're just going to learn about the top part. Okay, so you can see every single what do you call it? Every single atomic number is greater than the atomic number on its left or on its top. You can clearly notice that. The atomic number, as you remember from the previous slide, is the number of protons in the nucleus of the cell. Now let's move on to the next point. So, yes, the columns in the periodic table are called groups. As you can see in the periodic table, oh, excuse me, I just moved to the wrong slide. Let me move back. Yes, so the columns in the periodic table, as you can see on the periodic table in the top left-hand corner, it says group, and it states numbers of groups. So groups are numbered from 1 to 18. They are the columns of the periodic table. Let's move on to the next point, which is that the rows in the periodic table are called periods. So let's check that. In the periodic table it says periods, and it is numbered from 1 to 7 from top to bottom, isn't it? So periods are numbered from 1 to 7, and they are rows in the periodic table. As you remember, rows are basically horizontal and columns are vertical. Now to the next point, groups are numbered from 1 to 18, as I told you earlier, and periods are numbered from 1 to 7, as I also told you earlier. You can check it on the periodic table and it's always going to make sense. So what are we going to study in the next part? Well, we're going to study about the types of elements in the periodic table in the next part. We're going to study about the classification of elements, what each element means in the periodic table, what groups and periods stand for, and etc. We're also going to study about the groups, characteristics of elements of groups and periods, the common characteristics of elements in the same group or in the same period. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and leave any suggestions in the comment section down below if you want me to improve. Obviously, I'm not really good at it because I just started teaching. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more videos, and I'm desperate to show you and teach you about more parts of science. Thank you, and have a nice day, guys.